Okay, we're on the second word problem. It's a typical algebra word problem, although this document is from really an ancient course in algebra. The problems really haven't changed much. So I'm kind of reading it. It says in 9 years, B, that's somebody, will be 5/6 as old as A, and 12 years ago, he was 3/5 as old. What are their ages? Well, I do know they're talking about two individuals. So what I would do, I would write down, you know, A's present age. And I'm going to say that's the letter A. Now, certainly, when this book was written, everything was X and Y. And the reason, I guess the typesetters just felt it was easiest to do that. All right, but I can use any letter I want. And I'm going to say B's present age. Again, right now, what I'm doing is just simply writing down what I don't know. I don't know their present ages. All right, so what I have to do, I have to read it again because I'm not memorizing what I read. And, I one step at a time. It says in 9 years, B will be 5/6 as old as A, right? So in 9 years, B will be 5/6 as old as A. Well, how old is A going to be in 9 years? He's going to be A plus 9. How old is B going to be in 9 years? He's going to be B plus 9. But what did they say? This guy, the B guy now, is going to be 5/6 A's age in 9 years. I got that equation down. All right? And then it says 12 years ago. Well, by the way, there's conditions that you've met now. I hope you realize that they have to be a certain age to have 12 years ago. Like if they were 4 years old, this wouldn't be working out. So what I got to do is I got to write, 12 years ago, how old was B? Let me see if I can write this down. Well, B, 12 years ago, was B minus 12. I don't want to lose, let me push this over a little bit. So, and A 12 years ago was A minus 12. All right, I know that much, right? So it says, and 12 years ago, he was 3/5 as old. Well, let's write that down. So I want to point out what I have at this point. And this is where, I would say if you're a student and you're struggling with this, you look at the blue area. I wrote down a couple different things for you. Let me go through that with you. And then we'll talk about something. But right now I've done reading the problem. All right. So I want to claim, this has been written. Whoops, sorry about that. This has been written down. This has been written down. And that's written over here, by the way. What else has been written down? The equations. So this equation here is written right over here. And this equation here is written right over here. I feel good about that. I've got the equation I said they were going to get. Now what I want to do is I want to get my eraser out, and I want to start to erase this stuff. And I feel good that I've got to this first step of the problem. And someone says, what's first step of the problem? Reading it, understanding what you've read, writing down what they're looking for, and writing your relationships down between those things that you're looking for. Now my problem is the algebra. And doing the algebra, the way I'm going to do it, it may be different than the way you're going to do it. So what I'm going to do over here, I'm going to simplify each of these equations separately by multiplying both sides by the LCD. So I would get 6b plus, I'm multiplying by 6. 6 times 9 is 54. And 6 times 5/6 would be 5. And 5 times a is 5a. And 5 times 9 is 45. I want to continue to simplify that, and I'm going to write down 6b minus 5a is equal to, well, what would you get over there? I guess if I took 54 from both sides, I would get minus 9. And I'm going to simplify a little bit more. And I'm going to write it down as 5a minus 6b equals 9. I'm going to simplify this guy too. And how do I do that? Multiply both sides by 5. 5b minus 60 equals, and I'm multiplying by 5, by the way. So now it's going to be, the 3 times a, so 3a minus 36. And what I'm going to do, same thing. I'm going to try to simplify it. I would get minus 3a plus 5b, and I'm going to add 60 to both sides, and that would be 24. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, multiply by minus 1, and what do I get? I get 3a minus 5b equals minus 24. So what I want to do is I want to focus in on, I have 2 equations there that I think are pretty easy to look at. And I'm going to start to erase things. And the reason I want you to focus in on what we have here. I have these relationships here. Okay, I'm going to do something. And what you could do is either solve for A or B and make a substitution. I'm going to do something that most modern algebra students are quite familiar with. And they're going to do a process of elimination. And to do that, I got to select someone to eliminate. And what I'm going to eliminate over here is I'm going to eliminate the A in the problem by finding a common multiple between 5 and 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this first equation and multiply it by 3. And what would you get? You would get 15a minus 18b equals 27. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this equation by minus 5. And you would get minus 15a plus 25b, whoops, and I said minus 5, right? So that'll be 120. I'm going to start to make an erasure. Again, the reason for the erasure is to get you to focus on the outcomes of the activity. And what I'm going to do now is add those 2 equations together. By adding those 2 equations together, something's going to disappear. What's going to disappear? The A, right? Now, these are equalities. 27 is identical to 15a minus 18b, and 120 is identical to minus 15a plus 25b. So if you were to add those 2 together, what would you get? Well, the a's disappear. 25 minus 18 is 7b. And 27 plus 120 is going to be 147. Then the problem comes, what's b? All right, so how do I do that? Well, b is going to be pretty easy to obtain. I have to divide 7 into 147, and that goes 21 times. Now, I realize for some students, they don't even know what b means anymore. Well, I have it written down. B is, that lowercase b is b's present age. 21. So B is 21 years old. Question is, how do you get A? And my claim over here to get A, you can plug it in wherever you want. Anywhere you want. All right, anywhere you want. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to plug it in here. Before I do that, though, I want to go backwards in time to a simpler equation. And that simpler equation was something to do with before I multiplied by 5. I'm sorry, I multiplied by 3. So we had 5a. Let me do this over here. And I'm going to, I'm dividing by 3, right? Minus 6b equals, I'm dividing by 3, 9. So really, it's the same equation. I just divided it by 3. And it make it easier for me. So what do you get? 5a minus 6b. Well, 6b, if b is 21, right, what are you going to get? 126 equals 9. I'm going to keep moving forward. This is 5a equals 1 35. Divide both sides by 5. And what do you get there? That's going to be 27. All right, we got both answers now. And those answers are listed for you. A is 27 years old, and B is 21 years old. All right? Okay, let me start talking about the people that, if you're listening, I hope you are listening to these things. You're getting some benefit from these things. But I want to tell you the general format of what you're supposed to be doing. You know, paper and pencil, reading these problems over here, writing down what they said about it, right? In other words, you're looking for something, there's a relationship between those things, and try and answer the question. And if you're satisfied, like if you get here and you're satisfied with this, that's fine. Now, if you're not getting there, that's when you start looking at these videos, all right? Now, I grant that even after you look at the videos and say, you know what, I don't like the way you do things, I want to do them differently, that's fine. We're not saying otherwise, but the bottom line is there are no different answers, right? These are the answers to this question, all right? Now, if you need to reach out to me, again, I want to remind you, my name is Ron Bannon. You notice that my contact information's redacted here, and that's because this thing is being shared with the Prison Mathematics Project, and they've asked me to redact certain information from it. But again, my name is Ron Bannon, and my email address is Bannon, that's B as in boy, the @ symbol, NNON.US. And as I said many times before, if I'm not overwhelmed and you email me, I'll try to get back to you. I do appreciate you listening, though. Thank you.